you guys all for joining us and welcome to the 2025 Vice President Candidate Forum. My name is Jenny Worsham and I am your CPRS Vice President and I will be today's facilitator. With us is Stephanie Stevens, our CPRS Executive Director, who will be helping behind the scenes and managing the chats. And we hope to have some time for a few member questions at the end. Before I introduce the Vice President candidates, a bit of housekeeping. Each candidate will be asked the same question in varying order. We'll be asking these questions to start off, and then we'll have questions posted to members from the chat if time allows. And this is being recorded, just so you know. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for our Vice President candidates in alphabetical order, we have Nick Calubaquib from the city of Watsonville, Adam Chow from the city of San Ramon, and Tiarra Rohnert from the city of Rohnert Park. So we are going to go ahead if everyone is ready, and we're going to begin our first question. We are going to start with Nick, and then Adam, and then Tiarra. So Nick, first, please briefly share your CPRS involvement, including your engagement in the district, section, region, and/or state levels. So take it away, Nick.
All right, thank you. I'm really excited to go first here. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Nick Calubaquib. I am the Parks and Community Services Deputy City Manager for the city of Watsonville. So getting used to that new title and having that roll off my tongue. But just wanted to say thank you to Jenny and Steph first and foremost for hosting us today. Big shout outs to Adam and Tiarra as well. It's an honor to stand at this forum side by side with two people that I highly respect. And also want to give a quick shout out to all the folks out in LA and Southern California who are managing through this crazy disaster that we're experiencing across our state right now. Okay, so my CPRS experience, I've had the honor and pleasure of serving in many different capacities throughout my Parks and Rec career for CPRS. Started out at the district level as I think back then it was kind of like a regional rep or kind of like an area rep for District 6 back when we had those positions. Moved into the presidential series, so served as Vice President, President-elect, and President for District 6. And then I've served kind of in different capacities for District 6 over the past 20 years, including secretary and admin rep and so forth, whatever's been needed. Also served as a admin rep for District 4 when I worked over in District 4. Actually held kind of positions in both districts at one point in time when District 6 was struggling and needed some additional help. I've served on a number of different committees throughout my career as well, including the California Action Plan and the Executive Director Search, and helped with the awards program. Also got to serve on the state board as a Region 2 rep for a number of years, about a decade ago. Really excited about the prospect of coming back to the state board. And more recently, I've been serving on the admin section board. I've served as the Region 2 rep and then have moved through the presidential series. So I'm currently the admin section president and have had a fantastic time with the admin section. I think that kind of sums up my CPRS experience in a nutshell.
Great. Thank you, Nick. All right, Adam, same question.
All right. So for the last 20 years, I've been involved in CPRS since I got started. I got roped in really early. And so my first supervisor was Dr. Chris Chamberlain. And I was very fortunate for him to be able to push me into CPRS and be able to get me started and getting onto the District 3 board right away as soon as I was a newbie coordinator here in San Ramon. And so I was involved in District 3 for a number of years as a rep to the then supervisor section, and was involved with the supervisor section in District 3 on both those boards for a number of years. Also planning the Super Cal conference, where actually Nick and I met many years ago when I was a fresh coordinator. We were good friends back then, so we've known each other for a long time. But was helping planning the Super Cal conference for a couple of years, co-chaired that until that went away. And then I stepped back for a little bit for my leadership roles, but then decided I needed to jump back in and jumped back in as the District 3 president. So went through the presidential series for District 3 and did that for a couple years. Went on to co-chair the Region 1 Fall Forum, the award-winning Region 1 Fall Forum, by the way, for a couple of years, to be able to help out with that. And that was always a great opportunity for us. And then also when I was in District 3, we also did Rec Talks Live. And so this is something that where we were recording different presentations throughout the state and be able to provide different educational things that were posted on the CPRS website. That was something that was fun and exciting and something new that we were able to do to be able to help generate more information. And so I was really excited to be able to do that. After serving at District 3, went to the state board, served as the Region 1 rep for 4 years, most recently. And so had a year off from the state board, but during that year, Nick came to me and said, hey, let's go admin section. Let's make some things happen. And so I was actually very happy. I love working with Nick. He's a great guy. And so happy to be able to work with him on the admin section board and doing as the director of education. But all throughout this time, I've also been involved in a number of different committees as well. So this year, in addition to being on the admin section board, I'm also on the member engagement committee, also at the Jedi Council with Tiarra that we've been doing for years and years, and make sure that that is continuing to move forward, and also working with the conference planning and CEU review committee as well. So excited to be involved in CPRS and a number of different things that I've been doing. It's a passion of mine, and been excited to be able to try and provide more opportunities for leadership and move forward.
Awesome, Adam. Thank you. All right, Tiarra, take it away.
Well, those are some hard acts to follow, but I'm going to try to do my best. Before I get started, I just want to echo Nick's sentiments and send all my love and support and prayers and good energy to our colleagues down in Southern California. My career in recreation started in SoCal, specifically in LA County. So just know that we're here for all of the support that you need. We're with you, one CPRS, we're a community, we got your back. So with that said, I've been in the recreation profession for almost 20 years, and half of that has been spent with CPRS, which has been wonderful. CPRS has been super integral to my growth and development, so I'm very grateful for that. And my first foray into involvement with CPRS started with working on a conference committee and being a part of that in Long Beach, and being in charge of the Info Centro, so giving everyone directions about where your session is and where to get the best coffee. But it was a really great networking opportunity to be that hub at conference and just getting to meet folks. That transferred into working the command center in the next couple of conferences. And now I've been a part of the education review session committee for several years, which has been really wonderful, getting to be a part of what people are learning and connecting with at conference, which has been very valuable. Shout out to Lauren, who I see on the call. And then after that, I was almost voluntold, like many of us are, to join the rec section as a Region 5 representative. And I did that for a year and was slightly nudged to go for the presidential series. So I ran and was elected to be vice president of the rec section, and became one of the COVID presidents in 2020, where we led lots of COVID chats, which is really great, being able to connect with each other during a really difficult time, and then which led to the first statewide virtual conference for recreation professionals with School of Rec. So I was really happy to be a part of that team and lead those folks in such an important educational opportunity. And then I took a chance and ran for the state board and became a section rep for 2 years, where I also have a connection to the admin section too. Yeah, it's not just Nick and Adam. You can't see that, but I have my challenge coin from the Directors Academy, so thank you for that. And then I took a little break off of the state board, and while I was on the state board, became the lead for the Jedi Task Force. So led that task force into becoming a permanent Jedi Council and became the co-chair of the Jedi Council, and then stepped off the board to take on all of the responsibilities of leading that group over the last few years. And also because I moved 400 miles away from Southern California from D9 to District 1, I had the opportunity to serve as a director at large for the District 1 Board of Directors, which was really great. And now I'm continuing my work with the Jedi Council as a co-chair with Adam and Doug and a lot of people that I see, and Ashley on this call. So CPRS has been wonderful. The leadership opportunities that I've been given have been great. And I can't wait to be a part of providing opportunities for other folks to be a part of those same opportunities.
Great, thank you, Tiarra. Great job to all three of you guys. Wow, this is gonna be tough. This is awesome. Okay, next question. Who inspires you and why? So we're gonna have Adam and then Tiarra and then Nick. Who inspires you and why? Adam, you're up.
All right. So my inspiration is Sir Richard Branson. I think he is a great thinker. He likes to get out there, try new things. He's definitely an entrepreneur in that kind of sense, but he's just an outside of the box thinker. And I think that's really what I like to be able to see. He likes to be able to try new things, push the envelope. You know, his innovation style really is something that I try to emulate. It's really thinking about what's missing, what is that new next thing, what are the opportunities that are there, and how can we be able to make that get accomplished. And so that's one thing I really try and be able to do. But I also know working hard is one of the things that he does, but I also know he likes to play hard, and so that's always important. So work hard, play hard, make things happen, but you always got to enjoy the journey that along with it as well.
Thanks, Adam. All right, Tiarra, who inspires you and why?
All right. So when I think about this question, when I'm going to different spaces and talking about the importance of belonging, I think about a term I've learned about called your true north. And my true north is really things that recenter me. So I always say, like, watching the Wonder Woman movie over and over again just to find inspiration is really wonderful. But I also always bring up the words of Maya Angelou. When I was a kid, I was introduced to her in the 3rd grade. She wrote a poem about popcorn. And I was like, that's really cool. Someone wrote a poem about popcorn. I think I love her. And then if you know her story, she's got a really deep, deep story. So I wasn't able to read a lot of her books until I got much older, but I've read every single piece of work she's ever written. And when I'm having a tough day and I need to be recentered, I go to her words, because I don't know if you've ever read the poem Still I Rise or Phenomenal Woman, but they're two of the most inspirational poems out there for me. And I was lucky enough to visit her childhood home 1 month ago, and it was like this really amazing full circle moment for me, and really solidified that she is my true north. Her story is my true north. Her words are my true north. The pain and the suffering and the things she's overcome are my inspiration daily, and I try to use that in my leadership style as I move through. So Maya Angelou, check her out if you haven't.
Thanks, Tiarra. All right, Nick, who inspires you and why?
Oh, such a tough question. I think I always think about the fact that there's so many people that I learn from every single day, and I think most people that I come across, I gain something from them. You know, whether it's how they carry themselves or what they have to share with the world or their life experience. Including many people who are on this call right now. Learned a lot from many of the great leaders through CPRS in the past and the present and the future. But if I had to pick one person, kind of go along with the theme of you know, kind of a famous person, celebrity, Anthony Bourdain has been somebody who's always inspired me in many different ways. I really just love the way that he lived his life. Maybe not in terms of like the drugs and the alcohol and whatnot, but more so along the lines of really just being open to new experiences and living life to the fullest and finding those glimmers of hope and the best parts of human nature, you know, whether it's from individuals or from cultures or from food, first and foremost, and sharing that with the world. So yeah, I'd say Anthony Bourdain.
Awesome. All right, I love that. I was so excited to hear what each of you are going to say. So inspiring. Okay, next question. You have all given to CPRS and received from CPRS. If elected, how will you continue to advance the society through the CARD framework? Tiarra, Nick, and then Adam. So Tiarra, take it away.
Yeah, so first I want to say thank you to the hard work of the state board for coming up with this awesome framework that's really about the how. I think Janine mentioned this when the CARD framework was coming out. We talk a lot about our why, and this framework is our how, and it's really a great opportunity for districts and sections to connect with the work of the state board. So it's really synergetic and streamlined. So thank you for all of that work. I am big on all of these 4 pillars: community advancement, resources, and development. I have been spending the last couple of years, while I haven't been on the state board, going up and down the state, just trying to chase Doug Grove's record of miles covered to really connect with people. And that's one of my biggest reasons and my whys for running for vice president, because I want to continue to connect with people, leaders who are brand new and thinking about it, leaders who are not brand new and are still thinking about taking the jump, and our veteran leaders who have paved the way for all of us to be here today. So I want to continue to connect with folks and talk to people about what they need, what advancement looks like to them, what resources and tools they need to develop into a great professional to reach their highest potential of ability in this profession, and what development looks like to them. Do they need emergency management resources? Do they need to know how to deal with teens? Because we can't fill teen programs for some reason. If anyone has an idea, please let me know. We want to reach out to these teens. Do they want to take the next step because they don't have the degree? Do they need the degree? And what can they do if they don't? And what should they do if they want to take that next step? So it's really, for me, about connecting. And I've been so grateful and lucky for the people who have grabbed my arm and pulled me in and said, you can do this. I want you to do this. You're capable. And I want to do that for other people. So that's really my why, and pushing that everyone belongs here. The Jedi Council has been, Jedi is the lens, belonging is the goal. NRPA is where you belong. And I want to make sure that is infused into everything that we do as a state board, and using community advancement and resources and development to guide that work.
Great, thank you, Tiarra. Okay, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I say ditto to all of that. I think that was a great answer, Tiarra. Yeah, I'd also like to commend the state board over the past couple of years for developing the CARD framework. It's such an awesome, I think, way to really just align the work of all of our districts and sections with the state board work, along with staff's work. And I really hope to continue to work with CPRS at all levels on that alignment, and making sure that we are all working towards the same thing. I think CPRS is just such a much more effective organization if we're all paddling together, all working towards the same goals, and have the same kind of framework that we're working off of. In the admin section, this past year, we aligned all of our programs and initiatives with the CARD framework, and to be able to kind of just take a look at what we're doing and how it helps to kind of further the goals of the entire organization, I think has really spoken wonders and kind of given our board a greater sense of purpose, and kind of a more defined way to look at how we measure what we're working towards, in advancing the profession and advancing the work of all of our professionals in the field as well. I think, like Tiarra, I'd really like to build on conversations with the leadership, along with our members, towards kind of a greater shared vision for what we want to see California Parks and Recreation to look like in our state over the next several years. And I think the CARD framework is a great start to that. It really outlines the what we want to achieve and how we're going to do that. And I think digging into why and aligning that framework with some of the kind of longer standing guiding documents that we have through CPRS and in California, namely the VIP and the California Action Plan, I think will really just strengthen what we have with CARD, because it'll tie in, like the why, and help us give us better direction for as we develop the how, what are we working towards, and how do we make that become a reality throughout the entire state. So to me, it's really about continuing to figure out how we best support our members, how we articulate that, and create kind of a strong core of competent and supported professionals.
Excellent, thank you, Nick. All right, Adam.
All right. So I was fortunate to be on the state board as we were developing the CARD framework and sitting on those meetings with consultants. And then the brainstorming that the state board had as we were coming up with all these ideas of what we're looking at for the future and what the vision of CPRS is going to be. And really the whole idea of everything that we put out there really focus into these 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars is nothing new. I think that's the great thing about what it is. We're already doing it. So the community, the advocacy, the resources development, everything that we're doing is already built into it. So what we do at CPRS already ties together so strong. But I think it's also thinking about what it is that we're not doing and how can we be able to strengthen our organization? What is that vision for the future and where do we want to be? And so I think that's one of the things that I really want to focus on, is thinking about that strategic plan. So we have the CARD framework, which is great, and it really helps us out to be able to solidify what that one CPRS really is, right? So our state board, our districts, sections, all of our committees, we're all working in certain areas within this CARD framework to make sure that we're boosting up CPRS in so many different ways. Some of these pillars could be a little bit stronger, and I think we're working on that in the advancement section to be able to make sure that we are, telling our story a lot more. We are working with our decision makers to make sure that they hear us, make sure our community hears who we are and the strength. I mean, I know that we talk about this in a number of different ways, but that the advancement, like even right now, as we're looking at, how our Parks and Rec people are helping support LA and all the emergencies and the tragedies that are going on. This isn't something new for us, right? And this has happened, over and over again. And we are the people who our communities come to and turn to be able to help support. And so how do we strengthen all of those pillars and asks that we get, not just, through our communities, but how do we strengthen that through CPRS so that way all of our professionals and members are stronger? So looking at that vision, what's that next thing to come? I think that CARD framework is that starts, but I think that there's also a little bit more that we can do to make sure that that vision for the future is going to be built and strong, to make sure that CPRS is going to be continuing stronger into the future.
Amazing. All right. Thank you guys all. That was great. Okay, we're going to lighten it up a little bit here and give you kind of a fun one. If you had a superpower that could benefit CPRS, what would it be? Adam, Nick, and then Tiarra. So Adam, take it away.
Oh my gosh, I would want to read minds. So I think that's one of the hardest things about anything is that you don't know what anybody else is thinking, right? I think hearing from our members is really important. I think that is one of the key things that we talk about on a regular basis in member engagement. I've been working with Megan as she's come on to CPRS to be able to show her what it is to have member engagement and why it's important within CPRS. We have so many different types of members in CPRS, right? We have all of our professionals who are really engaged. We have professionals who've been long time who may be a little more disengaged. We have new professionals. We have part-time professionals. We have students. There are so many people with so many different needs within CPRS. And I think it's hard for our districts, sections, even the state, for all of us to be able to hit everything that everybody needs. So I think it's really important for us to be able to get that feedback, know what people want, what are the most important things. And so reading people's minds would be a key factor and be able to help determine where we go, what we do, and how do we serve our members the best.
Excellent. All right, Nick, tell us about your superpower.
Oh, this is a great question. I think if I had to pick one, I'd pick the ability to see the future. I think as a leader in leaders in our communities, but also leaders in CPRS as an organization, we have to be able to think, 3, 4, 5, 10 steps ahead of the game to figure out, where the trends are going to be, where the economy is going to be, where the politics are going to be. And if I had a better sense of how things were going to land, next week, next year, 10 years from now, it allowed me to be able to I think, just be more strategic in planning steps today for the future. I think one thing that I'm really grateful for CPRS and for the connections that I made over the many years is that I've learned to somewhat gain that skill. I mean, I obviously can't tell the future, completely, but I think through the skills I've learned, I'm able to kind of better predict what will happen. Jim always talks about kind of like having this big eye. If you've gone through his aquatics trainings, he talks about this sense and ability to be able to kind of figure out what, before an emergency or an incident happens, like what's going to happen based on how people act and so forth. And I think a lot about that concept and how it plays out, not just on the pool deck, but in everyday life and in our jobs. And it's a skill that I'd like to continue to work on. And so I feel like I'm partway there. I obviously don't have the full-on superpower, but yeah, the ability to tell the future, I think would be amazing.
Another great superpower we'd all love to have, for sure. All right, Tiarra, superpower.
Okay, so I'm gonna still go the Wonder Woman route since she is my favorite superhero, and if I had the ability to have an invisible jet, I could create the actual CPRS jet that would allow members to be able to participate in any educational opportunity or networking opportunity, no matter where it is in the state. I think that being able to connect with each other in person is so important and valuable. We're so lucky to have the technology to meet like this, but those in-person opportunities, to be able to sit and break bread with someone or have a beverage of your choice is so important and valuable. And I know that, city budgets they vary. So not everyone has access to trainings and programs and the travel associated with being able to participate in all these wonderful events that districts and sections and HQ as a whole put on. So if I had the ability to create an invisible jet, it could be visible also, but an ability to get folks on my jet and take them to any CPRS event at any moment in time, that would be my superpower of choice.
Love it. Sign me up for a ticket on that jet.
Nice. You're in.
All right. Excellent. Okay. All right. Moving on to our last formal question before we go to the chat. So if you guys have any questions after this, please feel free to add them because we will have some time. The role of the vice president is important to the succession plan of future board leaders. What innovative ideas will you have to help CPRS continue its leadership success? Tiarra, Adam, and then Nick. If you need me to repeat it, please just let me know.
So I'm a big foodie. I love food. And when I first ran for the state board, I was living in LA. So I was definitely attending Taco Tuesdays a lot. So happy Taco Tuesday to everyone. But I've spread this idea of connection and community as a part of this entire forum. And one of the ideas I have is just to go to every district and go to the best taco shop in that district and have everyone meet us there for tacos, or what's the famous food in that area? If you're in Gilroy, is there a garlic place I'm supposed to go to? If you're in LA or San Francisco, is there a seafood place I'm supposed to hit? Because that's the first thing I do when I travel. So I do believe that breaking bread is the great equalizer for all kinds of connections. So one of my ideas would be a networking event and being able to visit every single district in some place that has great food that is unique to that district and meet with folks and connect with them. Simon Sinek, if you're a fan, has a new podcast called A Little Bit of Optimism. And one of his first guests was Trevor Noah, and they talk about the importance and the value of small talk versus big talk, and how small talk is like the great equalizer. You give everyone an equal playing field if you are asking about the shoes you're wearing, or the shirt you have on, or the cocktail choice you made, or the car you drove in, or if you're wearing, if you have a marker print on your shirts because your kid was, you're holding your kid and your kid marked you up. Creating opportunities for small talk, I think, is really important for the development of leaders in any organization, and especially CPRS, because we are the people profession. Our success and our reputation is built on small talk, and we're guided through big talk, like the CARD framework. But being able to go to people and break bread and make connections and talk about how to tell your story better and what resources you need and what educational opportunities you need, and being intentional about where we have those through community, I think would be one of my big ideas.
Great. Thanks, Tiarra. Now I'm hungry. Thank you so much.
All right, it's brunch time, right?
I know, right? It is lunchtime. All right, Adam.
I started thinking about tacos and I totally forgot what the question was. So
Would you like me to repeat it?
would you mind repeating the question
Of
for me?
course.
I started thinking about tacos and brunch and I'm like, T, we need to go right now. I'm like,
I told you I like to eat.
I'm with you.
I think her plan worked, Adam. Okay. The role of the vice president is important to the succession plan of future board leaders. What innovative ideas will you have to help CPRS continue its leadership success?
All right, leadership success. And I think this is really important. This is actually one of the things that I find to be one of the most difficult parts. So as we went through this last board year, I ended up calling a lot of people to see if they were interested in different board positions, whether it was on the state board, whether it was on district boards, whether it was on section boards. And I got a lot of no's, right? And I think that those people who do make those phone calls, you get a lot of no's. Well, it's not the right time for me right now. I've got this project coming up, or, family, whatever that is. And I think that's okay. And I think there's a time for everybody. And I think that time, does come up. But I also think it's important that we start planting those seeds with a lot of people and having those conversations, and make sure that people feel like they're ready and they don't feel like it's daunting or it's very hard or it's very difficult. When I took that jump from getting into that district president role, I was scared. Right. And so you don't know what that first presidential role is or what that leadership role is going to be like. Everybody's looking at you. You feel like you have the weight of the whole district on your shoulders. But I think it's really important for all of us who have gone through that process or who are, who have been in that seat before and other seats to be able to explain it's not hard. It is, you were just doing what you do already, and it's just in a different seat. And I think that's one of those things that we just need to explain to our leaders, that we need leaders. We have to have leaders. CPRS is built on leadership. CPRS is built on the succession plan to have new leaders coming up all the time. And so how do we prepare those pathways? And I think that's something that I know CPRS has been discussing, the state board has been discussing what those leadership pathways have been or are, what those can be. And I know that there's a lot of discussions in regards to that. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. It really is. And so the reason why I make those phone calls to people to say, hey, you know what? I think it's time for you to step up on the state board. I think it's time for you to step up for a district leadership position. And having those relationships with people and having those conversations, I think, is very important for everybody to have. And I think all of our leaders need to be able to step up and be able to do that, to make sure that we have people who are ready. And who are those next leaders, and who are those part-time staff who are ready to be able to try and be on a committee, and who are those new professionals that we need to be able to get in. Just like I had the same opportunity to get pushed by my supervisor at the time. I think it's important for all of us to be able to continue to do that, provide that support, demonstrate, show what it's like, and just make sure that we have those leaders. And the other thing I would also say is that people who have, and being in this position, Jenny, lost elections previously are still actively engaged in the process in what CPRS is doing. So I was fortunate to be able to, be in this position, be in this forum last year with Jenny and having a good old time. But having lost an election, I've been there. I know exactly what that's like. And I know that, once you lose an election, sometimes there's not a seat for you because all the seats have been filled, right? And so what happens? And I've talked to several other people who have lost elections, whether it's for section positions or region positions at the state level. And they felt lost at that point, and they didn't know where to go. And I think it's really important for us to be able to talk to those people and say, you know what? Just because you did not win an election doesn't mean you're not valuable, and we don't have a seat for you. There are seats. And so Nick, thank you very much for offering me a seat on the admin section board. I really appreciate that. But I think that there are other seats available for people to be involved, and the CPRS does have tons of opportunities for us. So that's what I would say regards to succession planning and leadership roles. I think there's definitely a role for all CPRS members to be involved in that.
Awesome, Adam. Thank you. Yes, plenty of love to go around to all. All right, Nick.
Yeah,
Go for it.
just want to say I've got so much love and respect for you, Adam. I think you are a CPRS leader who definitely leads by example, and I think we need more of you, right? Like we need more folks who are willing and able to just step up and fill roles, whatever's needed, even if you lose elections and so forth. It's been so great working with you over this past year on the admin board, and so awesome to see you back on the slate again this year too. Yeah, I mean, I think T and Adam have covered a lot, like continuing to build those pathways to leadership, build personal relationships with folks. I think one of the biggest barriers that folks kind of talk about when they resist or are hesitant about running for positions or getting involved, other than time, is really that they don't see themselves as being worthy or having the competencies to be successful in leadership roles. And I think the more that we as experienced leaders can kind of step in and show people that they do have what it takes to be successful as vice president, president-elect, president, secretary, section rep, whatever it might be, and that we need kind of all hands on deck in order for CPRS and our profession in general to be successful. I think that will continue to help people to step up and step in to our leadership roles. A lot of it, I think, really kind of goes back to those personal kind of one-on-one connections and relationships. Having trusted individuals who are mentors to folks really encourage folks to step up and step in. I think that goes a long way. Those personal phone calls, those kind of small tidbits of conversation where you're able to just drop lines in about pathways to leadership and getting people to even just have that seed in their mind to think about, maybe someday I could be CPRS president. I think that's really where this journey started with me as well. It's always been kind of something in the back of my mind, and feeling like the time is right now to throw my name in the hat. But it really took, I think, folks to kind of drop that thought in my head over many years for me to finally gain the courage to put my name on the ballot. And it's those little micro interactions I think that Tiarra talked about that really helped to plant the seed and make a difference.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. Wow, you guys. Okay, so the questions, the formal questions are over. So you can take a little bit of a deep breath, and we're going to go to the chat because some people have some other questions for you. I just want to say I'm really honored to be facilitating this and in the position that I'm in, and to be able to hear all of you guys answer these questions in such deep and meaningful and inspirational ways is we're just lucky to be with you all and to work with you all. So thank you all for pouring your hearts out and really answering those questions without any notice of what they were going to be. You guys did amazing. So let's go to the chat. Our first question is from our awesome current president, Miss Kyla Brown. As I listen in, I'm attending our county board meeting and hoping they don't pull my item. It's a good reminder of the balancing act sometimes required of us in our work and volunteer capacities. If you are elected, how will you balance the priorities of your board position with your quote unquote day job? So Nick, let's start with you, and then Tiarra, and then Adam.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I've definitely thought a lot about. I just stepped into a brand new role at work about 3 weeks ago, and it comes with kind of a lot of expectations and pressure and so forth. And one of my mentors yesterday asked me, how do I expect to handle this, and what are my thoughts on all of this? I think the kind of third factor that I think about when I think about balancing, the potential to become vice president and my day job is also my family. For me, that comes first and foremost, and so that's another big thing that's been kind of weighing on my mind. That if elected, how do I balance kind of all three of those realms and make sure that I'm able to put my energy and priorities where I need to. And I think really it comes down to a few different things. There's never a perfect time, right? I'd say, maybe 6 months ago, if the elections were held and I was lucky enough to be elected, that might have been a better time to jump into this kind of CPRS leadership role without this new role that I have at work. But things don't always work out like that. I feel like I'm well prepared though to be able to kind of balance those duties. Have had the fortunate experience to build a strong network of support through CPRS. Know that I've got many leaders that I can lean on. There's a really strong state board right now that has done great work over many years. So I think thinking about how we spread that load and the work that needs to get done is super key to success for not just myself, but for the entire board and the organization. I think the same thing goes to say for things back at home here at work. I've been fortunate enough to build a really strong team in my department where I know that if I get pulled away for a few days or weeks, the ship will continue to sail and our community will continue to receive the services in terms of parks and recreation that they deserve and that they're used to having. I know that my city manager is fully on board with this as well. When she first offered me my new role as deputy city manager, this was one of the first things that I talked to her about. I was like, well, wait, I'll only accept this if I can continue down this path of CPR's leadership that I've kind of started down and is really important to me personally and professionally. My family is 100% on board too. Talk this over with my wife as well about how important. I mean, she knows how important CPRS has been to me, to my career, and to who I've become as a person over the many years. And I think with all of those factors kind of in place and in line, again, it's not the most perfect timing, but then of course there never is. But I think leaning on the strong teams that I've got at work through CPRS and just setting reasonable expectations will help me be successful.
Great. Thank you so much, Nick. Tiarra, same question.
Yeah, so I've been practicing this for the last several years very intentionally and listening to the leaders really that I respect a lot. And so, Marie Knight talks about going from a work-life balance to a work-life rhythm. So you decide what that rhythm looks like for you and works really well. And then Tara G talked about, the glass balls versus the rubber balls. And as long as I know which ones are the glass ones that can't drop, and the rubber ones that if they drop, they'll bounce back up and they'll be okay. As long as I have that vision and I am understanding what that looks like for me and my team, then I'm A-okay. I'm also lucky to have a very supportive team. I talked to my boss and my team about what this would look like if I were elected to this position and had their full support. So having this support of my team is super important because like if I take this and like, oh, you're never here, we need you. And it's like, we know you got us. You've been juggling this kind of rhythm / balance for the last couple of years. And I don't have kids, so I have a lot more free time. I'm a really great aunt. But my family life does look a little different because I can travel and be out and about. And I get to visit my niece and nephews along the way. But I have had lots of practice at this over the last couple of years, and I'm lucky to have those philosophies and strategies in mind with the full support of my team. So that rhythm is there. I've got it. I've had practice at it. If you've Let's see who's on the call. I think I've probably seen a lot of you all year long across the state and still been able to manage it and been entrusted to be acting director for 3 months at my current organization. So yeah, having the support of my team and my bosses and city manager have been really important to taking this step and throwing my hat in the ring and putting it in full practice. So it evolves every year and every month, but I'm at good practice with making that balance happen.
Great. Thanks, Tiarra. Okay, Adam.
All right. Yeah, I've had this conversation with my director and our team and our staff, and the one thing that we've always talked about is how much we really support CPRS. And so Ramon has obviously been very supportive of CPRS. We have so many people serving on the District 3 board, the state board, other boards and other committees. And so that's one of the nice things about the agency that I work for is that we are very supportive of CPRS. With that said, my director and I have had the conversation in regards to we need to make sure that if, whatever I do doesn't impact everybody else around me, right? And so if I leave, who else has to pick up the work that I've got to do? And so there is a plan in place, fortunately, that my team is very supportive, and I know what needs to get done and what doesn't need to get done. As Tiarra mentioned, there's some great glass balls and rubber balls and glass balls, and I love that analogy on what really has to get done and what can get pushed to the wayside and what can get done in an evening or on a weekend. That's something that you don't have to get done right away. So I've been fortunate in that regard to be able to balance the work that needs to get done. And having served on the state board for 4 years, I do recognize that there's significant travel in that, and seeing what the presidents have done and how much they've traveled. Doug Grove, I don't know, how you did it. Driving, I guess, has a big difference than riding your bike, but man, those number of miles and days are crazy still. But I have talked to my boss, and then fortunately, my wife is actually sitting in this room today too, and she's a rec professional and understands the importance of CPRS and what it is that we do and how important it is to be a leader in CPRS. And having that opportunity is something that I really value, and that she knows that we value. And so we've had that conversation within our family, and my kids understand that as well. Who've grown up a little bit now, so they're what are they? They're 13 and 10 right now, and so but they are very understanding of how important the work is that we do. I was lucky that one of my daughters was able to come to a public art dedication I did this weekend, and they just are excited about the work that we do and the stuff that we do, and they come to our camps, and so they know how important the work we do is, and so they understand, when Daddy's not home, to be able to put them to bed, he's out doing good things in the world, and so that's the great thing that I have the support from my family to be able to do. So yes, understanding a lot of the nights and weekends and the days away, but we do have a plan, and I do have the support of everybody around me to try and make it happen.
Great. Thank you. Thanks to all three of you. Those were great answers. Okay, we're going to do another question. We'll see how far we get. We still have a good 15 minutes here. So one other question, only one of you can be elected. If this isn't your year, then what is next? Let's go Adam, Tiarra, and then Nick.
Well, last year wasn't my year either, Jenny. So, and I say this because I love Jenny and I give her a hard time every single time I see her because I love her so much. And so she's doing a great job as CPRS Vice President this year. So kudos to you, Jenny.
Thank you.
What I would see if I was not elected, you know, I'd be in the same boat that I am right now. I'd be helping support whatever CPRS needs. So currently I'm serving on the member engagement committee, the conference program and CEU committee. I'm helping with the Jedi Council, and I'm also on the admin section board. So, you know, I'm a free agent too. If anybody else needs anything, apparently I don't know how to say no to anything. So I think that's one of the problems. But you know, obviously there's always a seat, there's always a place to be. You know, I encourage people to get into those seats, and I know how to find them and know where they're at and where those holes are, and happy to be able to fill anything that is needed to be able to help support CPRS in any role.
Great. I don't think that's a problem, Adam. I think everyone appreciates that. All right, Tiarra.
I also love and appreciate you, Jenny.
Well, thank you. Wow. Thank you so much.
I
Right
love you
back
too,
at ya.
Adam and Nick. You're wonderful humans. So if not this year, then I will continue to be doing what I'm doing now. I am lucky to be a part of the Jedi Council and the work that it's doing. I've also been lucky to be invited to different educational events across the state. So I'll continue to do that. My next goal is to start talking about you know, teams and the importance of psychological safety and successful teams. So I'll be moving from belonging to psychological safety, and hopefully you'll invite me out to speak about that, because it's one of these really cool things that I've learned, and it's really clicked for me that that's important in the most successful teams that are out there. So every year I try to have a theme of something I want to speak about and you know, talk to the members about, and I've been lucky enough to have those opportunities. So I'll keep hopefully speaking, and we're looking at a different, you know, an evolution of the Jedi Council and what that looks like, and getting more folks involved and molding and evolving that. So there's plenty of work available and to be done, and there's plenty of folks to continue to talk to, and I'll keep encouraging people to step to the plate and put their name in the hat and go for leadership opportunities. One of the biggest reasons why I stepped out of my fear of throwing my hat in the ring is because I was in the process of encouraging someone to get on the speaking circuit. And they said, well, if I start speaking, if I submit my conference session, then you have to run for vice president. And so here I am accepting a challenge from a member who I was challenging to you know, put themselves out here. So, you know, modeling that behavior and talking the talk is what I'll continue to do. And it's really important to get new, fresh leaders out there too. So I will continue to preach, stand on my soapbox for CPRS and preach the CPRS gospel and talk about the benefits and give back to this organization as long as I'm able to, no matter whether or not I get this role or not.
So thank you, Tiarra. Okay, Nick.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I've fully drunk in the Kool-Aid as well. So I think regardless of what happens, I'll continue to fight the good fight and champion CPRS in whatever way possible. Kind of more formally in the admin section, we still have a past president role. So that's where I'll go for sure. I can't imagine a world where I'm not involved with District 6 either. I've always had a foot in the door there in some way, shape, or form, just to help that board. It's a really small board. We've always kind of struggled with succession planning and keeping things rolling. So I've kind of become like the resident historian because I'm that old. So I'll continue in that role. The other, I think kind of bigger picture thing that I'd like to continue with if I'm not elected is, or if I am elected, you know, and are fortunate enough to go through the presidential series, is really to kind of dive further into advocacy. I think CPRS and the board has done a great job with kind of honing our story and you know, kind of having that discussion about, you know, are we an essential service versus a vital service, and what that means and how it impacts our communities. But I think there's a huge opportunity in front of us right now too with the new advocacy section that's being formed. I think there's the opportunity to kind of move beyond just telling our story to actually creating advocates kind of internally for us. You know, I think it's great to be able to tell a story and to kind of play that game, but sometimes we need to work on actually changing the rules of the game and creating our own advocates. So, you know, kind of moving beyond just convincing or persuading decision makers that we are an essential or a vital service, but to actually creating those decision makers from within, so that we have commissioners and council members and county supervisors and city managers and GMs and county administrators who are one of us, who come from the ranks, and who we don't have to convince that we are a vital service, but they know it intrinsically. And I think that fully kind of changes the conversation, and I'm really excited about the new advocacy section, because I think for the first time in many years, our electeds and our appointed officials, are starting to become not just kind of an afterthought, but we're inviting them into our circles and into the conversations on a daily basis. And I think just the power of that to change the landscape of how decisions are made kind of at the upper levels of government and nonprofits and beyond is just so impactful. I think about some of our Parks and Rec commissioners here in Watsonville, and right now on our city council, 3 of our 7 council members came from the Parks and Recreation Commission. And the cycle before that, we had 4 council members that came from the Parks and Recreation Commission. So when I go to the dais and try to get something passed from council, currently, with 3 council members out of 7, all I need to do is convince 1 more to get them on board with what I'm trying to initiate, to get something moved. And if you can imagine us kind of intentionally putting effort into building that capacity in our commissioners and our council members and beyond there, down the road, just think about the impact that we could have across the entire state of California. And I think the advocacy section really will allow us to kind of unlock that untapped potential to create those pathways into higher forms of leadership and decision making across the whole state. So I think regardless if I'm elected or not, that's something that I'm really passionate about and would really love to dive into in helping see the new advocacy section thrive and really change the landscape for our field in California.
Great, Nick. Thank you. Thanks to all 3 of you guys. Those were great answers. And thank you for asking that question. We have a few minutes left. Thank you to everyone who put questions in the chat. I'm gonna just not ask any more of those questions right now. I do appreciate it, but I do want to give our candidates one last chance to tell us why we should vote for you, why you for Vice President of CPRS. You gave us a lot of information over the past hour. So if you can briefly tell us why you, we'd love to hear from you. So let's do Tiarra, Nick, Adam.
All right, no pressure. So it comes down to how much I really love this profession. I have the biggest heart for the professionals that I've met through this experience and time with the organization. It is so important to me to continue to be in positions to lead and communicate and connect with folks. CPRS is one of my true north, is my North Star. When I talk about belonging and people ask me where I feel like I belong the most, CPRS is the first on the list because of how warm and engaging and helpful and innovative and creative and smart all of the folks that I've met and engaged with and have yet to engage with are. I still have I am a CPRS 2020 leader from the 2016 conference put up on my wall as a reminder about where I've come from and the people who have inspired me to be here. I feel like it is time for me to take on some, this type of role, or at least go for the opportunity as respect and honor to the people who have supported me along my career. I love connecting with folks. I want to be in a space where I can encourage and engage future and current leaders and lead with that, the theory of, the idea of one CPRS and having a cohesive organization where everyone learns, develops, and grows, and communicating that vision through the CARD framework. And I just have such a love and big heart for this organization that it would be just an honor and a privilege to be elected into this role and inspire other folks to take the leap as well.
Great, Tiarra. Thank you. All right, Nick, why you?
So why me? I mean, I think that this is so hard because we've got, I think, some really strong candidates here. And again, I think Adam and Tiarra bring so much to the table and have done so much for our organization. So I think really CPRS can't lose here. It's kind of a win-win-win, no matter who you vote for. I think what might make me a little bit different, I think throughout my professional experience in the field, I've gained kind of a really great depth in the different specialties of our profession. I've had the privilege of working in kind of almost every specialty except for maybe rec therapy that are represented by our different sections. Came up through the ranks in rec, worked in aquatics and aging. Served as a lecturer at San Jose State, and so been an educator, and now as a director and deputy city manager have had experience in the admin section side and development and operations as well. And so I feel like I can well represent our entire profession and our entire membership base. I think that the years of experience that I've had in CPR's leadership positions have also kind of been my path to where I am today, and have helped to hone the skills that I think I need to be successful as your next vice president and beyond. Have a really strong passion for CPRS and for this profession in general. I really think that CPRS has been a driving force that has really given me everything in my professional life and my personal life. And it would mean so much to me to be able to lead this organization into the future. Because CPRS has given me so much, I really want to make sure that our members have the support and sense of belonging that I felt through CPRS, so that they have all the tools that they need to be successful, and whatever success means to them in their careers, so that they can be the change makers in their communities as well. I think that's really kind of my end goal, is really to make sure that our membership has what they need to be successful, and to create community within their communities and within their CPRS sections or districts or wherever they're involved. Kind of going back to the superpower, I think I've gained kind of at least a resemblance of the big I, and I'm really interested in looking at kind of strategic direction for CPRS and thinking about how the CARD framework fits into that, and how it kind of intersects with the VIP and the California Action Plan. And really what that means for kind of the future of Parks and Recreation in California in general. And then again, I'm really fired up about the new advocacy section. I think there's a ton of potential there. I'm really excited about the fact that I'm kind of moving into my new role as deputy city manager also, and would like to create kind of a nexus and a bridge between the advocacy section and organizations like ICMA and kind of folks who work at the administrative level and at the elected level through all of our different communities and local governments, organizations, special districts, and so forth. I think that's really it for the most part. I'm just really excited to contribute my experience and passion and vision to help shape a vibrant future for CPRS, our members, and all of our communities.
Excellent, Nick. Thank you. All right, Adam, bring us home. You're muted.
There's that little
There-
button I always forget. Thanks.
Start over. Here we go. We
All
want to
right.
hear all
Well,
of
let's start from the beginning. No, I'm just kidding. I want to say that Tiarra and Nick, I respect them immensely, and I think they both know that I love and enjoy working with them. I think that they both would be great leaders for CPRS. What I think I could bring to the table is that my experience in CPRS and my passion and love for what it is that we do. I think that we all have this love for parks and recreation. Giving back to our communities. I've been fortunate to be able to live and work in the same community for my entire life. That is, very, very rare that, I was born and raised in the same community. I've got this, I've kind of got this ownership of it, really, in that I know that if we don't do something, or I do something wrong, somebody's going to say something, whether it's one of my kids' friends or parents, or my parents will say something since they still live in the community. I think that's what gives me that motivation to continue to make sure that I do a good job with my job. But I think that also carries on to what we do in CPRS and what we do within our profession. For me, is that it's not just the ownership of what I have to do within my community, but it's also the bigger picture within the state of California and what we do as a profession. That in every one of our communities, we have the power to be able to make significant change. We have the power to make changes within every person within our community, whether they're in preschool or elementary school, teens, adults, active adults, anybody within our community. We have the ability to affect them, positive and negatively, in that sense. And I think that we often look at the people that we currently serve and don't necessarily expand that into a larger role. And I take that into CPRS as well. And so it's like we serve a lot of people within CPRS, right? We serve a lot of our members. One of the things I really want to make sure that we do is make sure that we're serving all of our members. And so we're looking at the new members coming in, our part-time professionals, which we have, only, 50-something part-time professionals and only 60-something student members. And how are we serving them? And how are we serving that pipeline for new people coming in? I mean, as we know, our colleges are starting to close programs and those sorts of things for recreation. So it's going to be a little more difficult. So how do we make sure that those people who are coming into the field and moving in have the proper training, have the core competencies that they need to be successful, and make sure that that next generation is going to do well. And so that succession planning that we're doing, we do great with, you know, a lot of our established professionals, but, you know, District 10 has actually been doing a fantastic job with their rec leader trainings. And so that's something I was looking at recently because I think that's definitely something that is needed in a lot of our districts. And so I think it's really important for all of us to be able to have that conversation about what it is that we're doing well within CPRS and district, section, and state levels, what we can do better at, how we can be able to improve, how we can move forward, what that vision is for the future, what that focus is. And that's something that I really want to be able to focus on, is that what is that we're really doing and what are some of those holes that we have? You know, we have some communities that may be geographically further away, so they're not connected to CPRS very well. I got an email from a member yesterday who was like, yeah, you know, I'm excited, but, you know, sometimes I'm not very connected because, you know, geographically we can't get to some of these trainings. Zoom is great for some things, as Tiarra had mentioned, but, you know, that in-person connection, shaking hands, high fives, hugs, really does make a huge difference. And so how do we connect a lot of our members who may feel disconnected at times or disengaged? How can we get those people connected, and how can we get a lot of our members re-engaged and reconnected into what we're doing at CPRS? Because we are, as an organization, we're doing some amazing things. We are doing some fantastic things, but I think that you know, there are always opportunities to be able to do better. And that's definitely something that I want to be able to engage with the passion that I have for our profession, with the way I can be able to connect with people and create relationships. That's something I would be excited about and be honored to be able to do as your CPRS Vice President.
Great. Thank you, Adam. And thank you to all three of you for, I don't know about you guys, but I'm inspired. My heart is full. I'm just so excited to see the three of you in these positions, in these candidate positions, and so excited to see what happens, because I think you guys all said it. We are all winners with any of you. You guys are just amazing. So thank you. So this concludes our 2025 Vice President Candidate Forum. The three of you can take a deep breath, and the hardest part of your day is hopefully done. Our goal is to allow members to get to know each candidate better. So we hope that you guys all found this helpful. If you would like to know even more about each candidate or others that are running for the various positions, please go to the CPRS website and click About CPRS and then CPRS Board Candidates to read more. And Steph just put that link in the chat to make it really easy for you. Reminder that electronic ballots will be hitting your emails this Thursday. Today is Tuesday, so that is in 2 days on the 16th. And voting closes at 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, January 21st. So 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, January 21st. We encourage everyone to spread the word about ballots and voting. Members will only be allowed to cast a vote in the region they have their membership in. And if you need any more information about that, please call HQ at 916-665-2777, and they can answer any questions for you. Thank you to each and every one of your members, every one of you that took the time today to join us. We know everyone is busy, and we appreciate that this was important to you and you jumped on. Please mark your calendars and encourage everyone to vote starting on Thursday the 16th. It's super, super easy. On behalf of the CPRS State Board of Directors, thank you to Nick, Adam, and Tiarra for your time and dedication to serving our members. We wish you all the best in the election, and thank you to all, and have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks, you guys.